There are lots of forms out there that you can use to consider assistive technology, but luckily for you, we've condensed them into one form here that you can use with easy links to consider assistive technology and trial tools available for any student.
Idea 709!
This form is shared with you in Drive, and you can just search for it under AT Consideration and Trial Process. For those of you who have been in the district, you'll recognize this AT Consideration Guide. It's now available as a Google Doc that you can type right into, or also available in PDF form. You can use this at every IEP and evaluation.
I have no idea where you can find that.
So if you just click right here, it'll take you to that Google Doc. This is the AT Consideration Form. It's based on the SET process by Joy Zabala. It looks at the student, the environments, the tasks, and the tools. There are 9 questions or steps that'll walk you through the entire process.
I can't handle all of these questions. Stop bothering me.
Trust me, it's really straightforward. You'll start by describing the student, and these are things the team probably already knows about the student. Just keep them in mind as you move forward. Identify the areas of concern. Fancy little check boxes here. Just check the areas in which the student has some concerns. Next, you'll look at the tasks. Are there tasks that you want the student to be able to do more independently or at a higher level of efficiency or accuracy? Those would go here. Next, you'll move on to the environments. What are the aspects of the environment that might affect a student completing a task? You're already moving on to number 5. Discussing current strategies, accommodations, and assistive technology. You're talking about what's been tried in the past. Then, you'll talk about whether those things have worked or not. If they have worked, you just document them in the IEP. If not, you'll be moving on to question number 7. Here's where you'll start thinking about additional things you could try with a student. There's a list down below, but we'll get there in just a second. The next step is to document those things in the IEP. There's language back on that AT Consideration and Trial Process document that you can use. And in number 9, the final item, you'll document the plan that your team is putting forward to do more trials or to implement any assistive technology. Now we've got a list down below. Know that there are some possible examples of tools that might be helpful. Keep in mind that technology changes daily. But always be sure to consider the whole range of items available, from very high-tech all the way down to no-tech. You'll notice that there are some options within each area where you had a checkbox up above. So let's go back to that AT Consideration and Trial Process document with all that great information in it.
What? I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean?
It's this document that's shared with you in Drive. You can just search for AT Consideration and Trial Process. You can also access that form by clicking here. And there's also a video we made a couple of years ago, fun little throwback. Here's that language we were talking about. If you're using it at evaluation time, here's the very specific language you can write into the evaluation plan. The case manager is typically responsible, and you must of course address then those 4 things within the evaluation summary report. We've even got samples available for you by clicking here. Now, I know there are only 2 examples in here, but you'll notice if you click on either one of them that they address multiple areas, so you can just look at the areas you're interested in. For example, handwriting. Back to that process document. Now you can write the trials into the IEP if the team determines there are needs. Here's the specific language you can use, and you insert the specific task here. That could be reading, writing, communication, any area in which the student is having difficulty. If it's not already in the IEP and you're not doing an IEP right now, you can do an agreement to amend using these directions that are also listed right there in SPED forms. If you haven't already, you'll need to collect some baseline data. This will show you what the student is doing now, and keep in mind that you want to measure what you're going to want to change. Now, we've already created some easy sample data collection forms for you. You can find those by clicking here.
You have to see it for yourself.
And see it we will. Here are a bunch of different data collection forms that you can use, looking at a variety of different tools that you might use, and some really good generic data collection forms. Basically, just remember, you're measuring whatever it is you want to change. Let's go back to that process document.
Deja vu.
So now you've got your baseline data, let's collect some trial data. Generally, you'll want to trial at least a couple of things so that you can compare them both to your baseline. You can look for anything that's available in our AT library by clicking here. It'll bring you to a Google Sheet where you can see all the things that we have available for trial. And not only do we have our own AT lending library, we have access to other AT lending libraries too. Just let your fabulous assistive technology coordinator know you're looking for something. Hey, remember those sample data collection forms? Here they are. Of course, you can feel free to develop your own data collection form, and trials will take about 6 weeks. If you want the item to go home with the student during the trial, you can have them complete the student equipment usage form. That way they could trial the tool in multiple settings. Now, let's assume those trials that you did were absolutely amazing. You found a tool that works for the student. Now you're going to submit for purchase. Once you've found something that works, you'll submit these things downtown to your assistive technology coordinator. And you'll notice that I point at each of these things. They are all of the things that you've been doing above. One additional form you'll need to complete is a purchase requisition form. This is something that you can find by clicking here, but you can also usually find those in just about any of the school district buildings. You'll be notified when that item comes in if it's ordered, or if there's more data needed. If you scroll down just a little bit more here, you'll also notice that you'll need to complete a significant change to the IEP to add in that the student is now using that tool. If you didn't find something that works, you can document the trials you did within the IEP, and then consider using that AT consideration guide again. Just document any additional trials you'll need to do. That's it. That's the end of the process document. Oh, but don't worry. Here's some inspiration.
Okay, assistive technology. Woo! Okay. Yeah! Go!
So go ahead. Take a minute and click through all the links on this AT consideration and trial process document. See what you think of them. Then start by considering one student on your caseload who you think could be doing something slightly more independently or maybe with a higher level of accuracy, and try and work through this AT consideration guide with that student in mind.
Go.